Voila. So it's incredible to think how it's exactly 250 years ago the Gros Ventre was there, and what an amazing story, and how France didn't want to pursue the claim when information got back to Versailles at the time. I think that's a really interesting question to be asking. And certainly as a member of the West Australian Parliament, I find stories like this about our history just so fascinating. I want to, though, especially acknowledge the Mulgana people, the traditional owners of Shark Bay, the Shark Bay area and this land. And unfortunately, Harry Oakley wasn't able to join us because of work commitments. But it's a wonderful thing to think that the French people who were here 250 years ago wrote in their journals that they acknowledged there was some ownership of this land. They recorded things like, oh, today we learned that New Holland is inhabited. They wrote things like, oh, we think that the smoke that was on the horizon was actually a signal to us. So those are very interesting things that would have then gone back to Paris, and then we don't know, to Versailles, and we wonder how those comments would have been interpreted, given some of the philosophical leanings of people who were advisors to the king at the time. This island, Dirk Hartog Island, very tricky to get to in many ways, so it's kind of ironic that our first European arrivals are on a spot that is still a fairly tricky place to get to. I'm absolutely indebted to my friend Mick Payne, Dr. Mick Payne, who's an expert four-wheel driver as well as a professional biologist who was able to negotiate all the four-wheel driving to get us to this very isolated place. But it is magnificent. And the whole story of Dirk Hartog Island, 1616, the project that the Department of Biodiversity and Conservation's got to re-establish the ecology of the island to what it was like when Dirk Hartog first came here in 1616. That's an amazing project in itself, with the reinstalling lots of species that were once here, were wiped out when the island was a pastoral lease, and now seeking to reintroduce them. And from here, at Cape Inscription, with whales passing by, feeding, and I can actually see a whale splashing. You wouldn't believe it. I wish I could have the skills to turn the camera to show you, but it's a fair way offshore. Feeding ground along here. We saw a manta ray having a big feed. Absolutely stunning, and what a location. You've got this historical connection here at Cape Inscription, looking across to Turtle Bay, and of course further around the corner we've got Dampier's Landing, where William Dampier arrived. I think it was in 1699. So it's been a place where seafarers have come and perhaps sought sanctuary from the wilds of the oceans, but probably disappointed as well not to find that there would be copious water supplies here and springs. So it's absolutely fascinating to think what those sailors thought about this place when they arrived here. And knowing that they'd already been at sea since the 16th of January, and then the trip down to Kerguelen Island, the claiming of Kerguelen Island for France, and then on to here, and the disappointment of not being able to land at Cape Leeuwin because of rough seas there. But I know you're in excellent hands tonight with Myra Stanbury and Nolene Bloomfield. You've got professional archaeologists, historians, people who really know the full story of this, who can tell you all about the intrigues of 1998 and the wonderful work done by Philippe Godard to find the Ecu coins, and then the follow-up work Myra did finding the bottle. Brilliant stuff. And that is all part of a very rich Western Australian story. So to just finish off, Nick and I are going to have a little glass of French red wine to toast to the great story that France has given us here. So thank you, Mick. And we've even brought our wine glasses. They've survived the journey, the four-wheel drive journey. And a very... well, that's a good-sized glass, actually.
It is.
Okay. Well, je vais dire à tout le monde, à votre santé et bravo. Et merci et bonsoir. Et très bonne soirée à vous. Au revoir. Got through it.
Yes, meant to say something there, but anyway,
sorry,
yeah, that's
sorry,
all right.
that's-
Cheers, well done.
Yeah, it was actually it was working fine once it got
I think
going.
that was pretty good. Yeah. There's a few people there, eh?
Yeah, yeah.